Welcome, everyone, to the You Can't Handle the Truth Sports Podcast. I am Rubbish, your host, and with me is the better half of us. Well, it depends on who you speak to. I think some Eagle supporters are calling me the better half, but we have the pistol here as well. So how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
I've enjoyed your work. I always enjoy your work, but I've enjoyed it this week about you winding some of our arch enemy up.
Yeah, I felt
Had just having a
like
little bit of fun
this
there.
week, so just gave him a little bit of feedback on their
Yeah.
best player that's ever graced the turf. So
Yeah, I know. You're dead right. You're spot on. You're spot on about Harley Reid. I mean, geez, I don't even know that he's the best player in his year. You know, like
but
it took him
he's a
5
good
weeks to
player,
get it.
and he's
Yeah,
probably going to be good at. But 7-game player, and
yeah,
I think it was 50% disposal efficiency on the weekend, and all they can talk about is 2 fend-offs in a losing game. So
yeah. I know. I get it. Like it's the highlights a bit. It reminds me. It's a lot like Nick Nat Nui to me. Um, you know, he Nat Nui, I don't care. I will go to my grave. He to this day is the single most overrated footballer I think to ever play the game. Now he had great games, don't get me wrong, but he was never the player that they made him out to be. He couldn't take a mark, mate. He couldn't even mark it. Like I think he took one hanger, and then that was it. Yeah. But try and tell them that.
yep, yep.
All right, so look, we've got an abridged version of the pod today, mainly because we've both got work commitments. We're not full-time podcasters. Can you believe that? Um, and I'm heading overseas for work tomorrow, so it'll probably be a couple of weeks since before our next episode. So we thought we'd get something out there. Wanted to kick straight off into, I guess, maybe a bit of a review on the Dockers versus Richmond game on the weekend.
Yep.
There was a bit to unpack with this game, I think, because, well, first of all, we won each quarter, I believe. So, including the first quarter, which was nice. Did we kick the first goal in that game? I don't know.
We texted about that.
Yeah, that's right. We did, didn't we? So,
Yeah.
so we can't. We still can't kick a first goal, and that's right. I'm going to start betting on this. I'm going to put this in all my multis from now on because it's an easy leg. Although I reckon Sports Bet would be onto that by now. But so we did win the first quarter. I think our second quarter was pretty solid. Our third quarter, we came out and let them kick, I think, 3 goals in a row. And then we kicked away in the end. So overall, I think a pretty decent performance. The game plan, I said halfway through the second quarter, I made the Twitter comment. JL is having me question my understanding of football, and that is because I don't care what he says. I just don't find our game style attacking. Now, I know we kicked over 100 points on the weekend, but it just was not attacking to me. He talks about how, handball happy somehow means, free flowing and attacking style. But I don't know that those two really correlate. Is it just me? Am I nuts? It could be just me.
Yeah, I guess during the game we started. I think I made the comment to you. We started off being a bit chip, starting off in that first quarter. That just may have been feeling out Richmond and how they were playing. Because after that, we started to get that forward handball going, coming out at the front of the stoppage rather than going out the back. I'm not sure whether you caught Lee Montagna on AFL 360 where there was a couple of clips and he was showing that long kick down the line, and we were starting to win that one the last couple of weeks. basically coming out the front of the stoppage and getting that forward handball. So we've averaged, I think, 44. I think he said it was low 40s anyway, inside 50s previously, and then the last 2 weeks we've upped that to mid 50s. So I guess if you look at that from an attacking point of view, we have increased it, but how that, I guess, is looking is another thing.
Yeah, I didn't actually see Joey's
Some
comment.
pretty good analysis there. There's an article on the Fox Sports site with a clip of what he was saying.
Okay, I might
Basically
check
having
that
us
out.
as the sleeping giants in AFL
Mm.
flag race.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, given I had them going 1-6. And by the way, just for the record, I've lost every one of those tips. If we were to look back on it, because the only game I said we were going to win was West Coast.
Yeah.
So hands up, I'm garbage. All right, they call me rubbish, but I'm garbage. So yeah, all right, I I get that. And I think Luke Ryan said after the game in his post match interview that it was strategic of them to be quite deliberate and systematic in the way in which they move the ball early on. So it was clearly a game plan to try and I suppose break down Richmond, who you know if we talk about the increase in forward 50 entries, that's important, but it also doesn't mean that I guess it means that we're getting the ball forward more, which you correlate to being attacking, but you can get more forward entries by bombing it in. You can get more forward entries by just doing quick kicks or by chip, 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 doing nothing, 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 and then getting it in. So I don't. Yeah. And the other thing to consider is we've played two pretty ordinary sides. Like the
Yeah.
Bulldogs, I think will be sacking their coach. I think this year, some point, and Richmond, I think, are they're obviously bottom two. So I think the proof will be in the pudding this week, and
I think it's in the next 4 weeks we'll see where we're at. We've got
yeah. So if we lose, let's say we lose four. That I mean, I'm not going to predict that, but if we did, I mean, then where are we? We're back to to this back to point one. But
I mean, we played Sydney this week. Obviously, that's their top of the table for a reason. And then we've
mhm.
got Saints away, Pies at home, and then off to Traeger Park for the D's. So that's a big month of footy there. We've got three sides that
Yeah,
really should be in the top eight. Pies are just out, I think, still at the moment. But they're obviously last year's premiers and starting to, I guess, turn the corner in their season. Saints, I don't know what they're doing, but we should be beating them.
yeah. They had a killer injury list, and they're just starting to get players back. So
Yep.
I don't know. Ross, yeah, Ross worries me because he's such an amazing coach, and he had us covered last year. He had us well and truly covered last year in that round one. Um, yeah, it will be interesting. Look, if we can win a couple of those, that'd be good.
Yep.
Um, I I'm trying to tell my family and friends, you guys have got to settle down. We haven't played anyone yet, and some of the
Yeah.
teams that we have. I mean, we've played Port and Carlton, um, and Brisbane. Other than that, we really haven't played anyone, and um, you've got to just calm down a little bit because I've got family members booking trips to Melbourne and all sorts of, and I bet you know who I'm talking about. But it's just out of control. It's you guys are losing the plot. We at least let us be competitive against a team like Sydney, right? Like
Yeah.
Sydney amaze me because I look at their list and I still just can't see how they're as good as what they are. Like they've got some very good players. Don't get me wrong, like Goulden, Warner, Parker, very good players, but their
Parker's not even
defence.
playing though.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think he's back this week. So,
Yeah.
um, they've got some good players, but you look at their forward line. There's no one in their forward line who really terrifies you. I know they've got Logan McDonald, who looks like he's going to be a very good player. Will Hayward, he's never like. Put it this way, I would trust our backline to contain those guys.
Yep.
But what they do have that we just haven't really in the past is goal kicking mids. We've spoken about that a bit in the past as well. But maybe Hayden Young will change that. So, because he kicked a couple of nice cheapies at the end, but they were nice goals too. They were both on the right foot. One of them was from 50.
Yeah.
So that's pretty decent non-preferred foot skills there. But we know the skill set he brings. So anyway, we'll keep going down with that game against the Tigers. So we've spoken about the game plan. One thing that really got my goat at the start, and look, it turned out to be a smart move, but if we had have lost the contested ball, we would have all been baying for blood, and that was Fife as a sub.
Yeah.
I don't even have him in my fantasy team, so we don't even need to go there. But I just seems like we were flirting with danger when we're a team that can't afford to flirt with danger. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, it was like we're trying to be too smart for our own good.
Yeah.
I get the 5-day break and coming up against the Premier, but I don't think we're a side that can be looking a week ahead at the moment.
No.
It's obviously worked out for us where we started the way we did, and then it worked out perfect, really. Fife came on in that third quarter when Richmond were coming at us, and he came in and basically started like he did the week before.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Now they're talking about Walters being the sub this week, and I would consider Walters being the sub more of a demotion, whereas Fife has come back from being best on ground. Walters really hasn't offered us anything at all this year, so I would be treating that one more as a, hey, this is your last chance, your next stop is Waffle.
He had that one real good game against the Crows, but he was pretty close in that game.
He kicked 1-4. Yeah.
But since then, he's barely done anything. So, yeah, he's completely out of form at the moment.
Yeah, he was like this a couple of years ago, and I remember thinking to myself, that's it, he's cooked. Yeah. And then last year he was very good and got his 2-year extension, and now he's back to being not so good. So, hopefully it turns around for him. It's a hard position to play forward pocket.
It's one of those things. He could come out this week, start on ground, and kick a bag.
Yeah, I doubt it, but he could.
Yeah, it's just going to be one of those things with him, I think.
Yeah. So Fife going as sub was an interesting move because one area that we've spoken about here before is we say we've got and we do have a lot of contested beasts, but our worst games that we've had this year, we have been destroyed in the contest. And so it really felt like one of those games where, you put Fife in, if you don't have Fife in, then you have Dustin Martin, who isn't necessarily a contested beast, but he's very, very impactful. You've got guys like Jaden Short and Tim Taranto and, Liam Baker, guys like that who can actually win a contest. I thought, oh, God, here we go. We're flirting with form. We've put the great man as a sub, and we're going to have to sub him at quarter time when we're down by 30 points. That's what I was thinking. But obviously that didn't work out that way. And a big part of that was because of the next guy I want to speak about, which is Hayden Young. So I saw, interestingly, on Twitter yesterday that they were bringing out all these comparisons about Hayden Young, and somebody was calling him being the closest player we've got in the AFL to Marcus Bontempelli. And I think that's a pretty poor comparison, to be honest. Yeah. I don't think Bontempelli is very skillful. He's tall. He's aggressive. But Hayden Young. I don't see Hayden Young when I see Bontempelli. I really don't. And somebody sort of came back and retorted and said, "Well, yeah, he's more like Jordan Dawson." I thought about that, and I was like, "Yeah, okay." All right. I can see maybe closer comparison to Jordan Dawson, but I still maintain he is an absolute clone of Nathan Buckley. I don't think I've seen a player more like Nathan Buckley than Nathan Buckley.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I
Where do
agree.
you
We've
think?
spoken about this before, and the more and more time he spends in that midfield, yeah,
Even his running gait,
yeah,
even his running gait is the same. I don't know who he grew up supporting. Uh, if he grew up supporting Collingwood, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he's
yeah,
just like his favourite player growing up was Buckley or something, and he's just he's modelled his game over him. But his left boot, um, his ability to get the quick hands out, his ability to get on the outside as well as the inside. He is a phenomenal player for us, and I think he could well be the pick of, well, he's definitely better than Brayshaw, but he might end up being the pick of Sarong and Young. And for a while there, it was looking like Sarong is going to, well, he is a superstar and he could win. I like your Brownlow bet. He could win the Brownlow this year, but Young was picked ahead of him.
yeah.
You got to remember that. Young was picked at 8, Sarong was picked at 9. So, I mean, not that it makes a difference, but there was a reason why they did that, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just improved. Like he's only really spent 7 games this year, or 8 games this year, and then it was a handful last year. So he's barely played half a season in
Yeah.
as a midfield, and this is what we're getting as output. But he's still really learning our structures. Well, whatever structure we actually have in the midfield week to week, but
Yeah.
he's still learning all that, learning that sort of craft. So he's
Yeah.
only going to get better.
Yeah. I just think he will be the next thing for him will be dealing with the tag, because there is no way in this world that they are going to let that guy just roam around anymore. Like,
Well, we said
yeah,
that about Sarong as well, and they just let him have it on a string.
yeah, but Sarong, I think with Sarong, I don't think. I love Sarong, right? He should be our captain. I would say right now, he'd be probably my favourite player, right, at freo. But he doesn't, I don't think, do as much damage as what Young can
Yeah,
and will. So I reckon that they'd be more prepared to put a hard tag on Young than what they would Sarong. Although, you really don't want either of them getting the ball 30 times. But
no,
it'll be interesting. Sydney, I haven't watched a lot of Sydney this year. In the past, they've always been a very accountable midfield. But now when I look at guys like Goulden and Warner, I don't know how accountable those guys are. They seem like they're the
no,
sort that
it'll
just
be
want to run off you.
your McInerney's or your Robbie Foxes. But maybe not
Row
Robbie
bottom,
Fox,
maybe.
but yeah, maybe Rowbottom. But generally they don't apply a hard tag.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, it will be interesting to see because yeah, I doubt any team would want to be letting him run around for too much, because he'll just tear them apart.
And it'll be
The
like
other,
us with Goulden going the other way. So
well, yeah, yes. I wonder what we'll do there actually,
I reckon you
because
might find James Aish come up.
yeah, yeah,
He's usually our
yeah.
run with if we decide to go with a tag.
Who'd you tag, Goulden or Warner?
That yeah.
I know it's Sophie's choice,
Warner,
that one, isn't it?
Warner's just about my favourite player outside of Freo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a good player. Yeah, good player. So the other guy who I'm going to put my hands up, and my dad. I have these conversations with my dad all the time, and me and him are polar opposites when it comes to our footy viewpoint. Like he just cannot see anything but the positive, and I often cannot see anything but the negative. And so we were having an argument, a friendly argument the other day, and I said to him, "When was the last time you were actually right about anything? When it comes to when was the last time you were actually right about anything?" And he was joking around because that's what we do. And he said, "Well, what about Josh Tracy?" And he shut me up in a second because he has been banging on about Josh Tracy. And I'm going to give him complete props there. He's been banging on about Josh Tracy for a while, saying he's young, he's aggressive, he's a good kick, he can, And I just didn't see it. He looked like a player of almosts. I never saw. He consistently seemed to drop marks that you would expect a key forward to take. He seemed to drift in and out of the games too much. And whilst, the theory that key position players take a lot longer to develop is true. I'd seen too many key position players come in and out of our team that have taken ages to develop, but actually they didn't. They just didn't develop at all. They just turned into duds. So that's why I thought, and rookie list key forwards do not have any success. I've said that in the past as well. They generally don't have any success. So he has turned into being a very, very handy footballer, and he won't be better than Jai Amiss. I really don't believe that, but he will be a very, very solid footballer. If we could get 40, 50 goals out of him every year, well, then all of a sudden our whole forward line dynamic changes, and maybe our trade strategy changes as well.
That got raised by I think there was an article there by is it Eliza?
Rhino. Oh, was it Schmuck? It was Schmucky.
Yeah, I've seen one from Eliza.
Oh, she did the same.
Yeah,
Eliza Riley.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I tend to agree with it. Like, if obviously Amiss kicked 40 or 50 last year, and if we're getting a similar output out of Tracy, like one of those are kicking 40, 50 a year, and then the other one's chipping in with 30 to 40, and then we can change our, I guess, draft thoughts to be that of a gun small forward to replace Walters, and they're chipping in with X amount of goals. That sort of improves our attack down there. Like, instead of throwing, Lloyd McDonald's not going to come cheap. As much as we think we can just throw one pick or whatever it is at him, Swans aren't going to let him go for nothing.
No, I agree. No, he will cost a lot. And
when you look at the hard line they took with Jordan Dawson,
they kicked him out. They didn't take a hard line with him, eh? Didn't they get like
ages?
Yeah, but they got like pick 25 for him or something in the end. That was it. I thought they because Jordan Dawson, in the end they didn't offer him much of a contract. That was why he left. Like, they could have kept him. That was my understanding of it. And they buggered it up, which is very un-Sydney-like. But yeah, I'm sure you'll get the data there. That was just my understanding of it. But
it was first round selection.
First round, yeah. But what was that, pick 18 or something?
It was tied to Melbourne, so yeah, it would have been late.
It would have been like pick 17 or something like that. Like that, if that was the year, that might have even been the year they won the flag, was it? So it might have actually been pick 18. And if there were any father-sons or anything...
I think they won the 2021, didn't they? So So they would have finished top 4.
Yeah. And then if there are any father-son picks and, all those other compensation, like North were probably getting compensation. Anyway, that's probably not really the point to belabor, but Jordan Dawson, in retrospect, should have gone for higher than that. And
Yeah.
so if that's what the
But I guess that
market
was
is,
my the point there. It's like they're gonna put more on Logan's head than they have Jordan. So
yeah,
he's won first round. They're gonna be asking for at least two, I reckon.
yeah,
If
yeah, I
not,
agree.
if not more, they'll try for more. And I don't know whether we want to go down that path if we've already got two guys kicking near enough to 40, 50 goals a year.
Not to mention LJ, Luke Jackson,
Jackson.
um, as well as, and I'm hoping. I mean, I say this every year. I'm hoping they actually draft some forward line talent this year. And if you've got 3 first round picks, um, you know, from what I've seen, listening to Cal Toomey and that, there's some pretty decent forward pockets
Mm,
in this year's draft. I'd be trying to get our next Hayden Ballantyne.
yep.
Trying to get our next. Jack Deline looks like he's got a little bit about him. He's been doing kicking some goals and waffle, but I don't know. Like you want a high end guy,
Yeah.
someone who you think is as close to can't miss as possible.
I mean, he kicked a
Um,
few on the weekend, but I think most of that Thunder side did when they smashed West Perth.
yeah, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna. Oh, the last thing I want to touch on before maybe we just talk a little bit about who we think is in and out this week. But Jai Miss, there was a bit of I guess JL doing a bit of sticking up for his guy and the treatment that he's been getting lately.
Yeah.
If Jai has a bad game and still kicks two, I'm going to accept that. That's pretty decent because we haven't had anybody who can kick two regularly. So
We
um,
probably need to look at that as a holistic approach as well. Like we've had Tracy kick four and Mrs. kick two, so that's six between them. Which I
yeah,
mean,
and Jackson might have even kicked one as well. So
yeah. So between those two, we're kicking six a game. Like you'd take that.
yeah, yeah, you would. And and I reckon this week he could come out and and kick a bag. It takes a little while to come back from a concussion.
Yeah.
So and we've got to forget we can't forget he's only 20. So no, he's still our best forward. I think I saw somebody stupidly say, is there a situation where we'd be better off with Voss and Tracy in the team instead of Amos?" And I'm like, yeah. Like I've seen some pretty stupid things, and like that's as stupid as it gets.
Yeah.
Other than the new West Coast jersey that I just saw that got come out, which looks ridiculous, but that Jai, there is no situation in our world where Jai playing waffle is a better outcome for us, none
Yeah.
whatsoever. So
100%.
yeah, rightio. Look, we're short on time, so just quickly, who do you reckon we're going to have in and out? We're going to find that out later today. Did we get any injuries on the way? There was only Darcy with a tight calf. They're saying that he'll be okay.
Yeah. So I'd
Um,
say, obviously, if Darcy doesn't come up, then we may go along the lines of Voss coming back in because that'll mean LJ back into the ruck, and they sort of like that structure up forward. So Voss may come in there, and Switter's the other one. He's got to get through the main training session this week. So I guess if he gets up, he's probably ahead of Cooper Simpson at the moment for a similar role.
yeah, I was going to say Cooper, who I think showed a lot in his first game, probably didn't really do. I think we even said we hadn't even seen him in the first 2.5 quarters, and he played a full game. So I don't know where he's doing or what. It's pretty impressive to not be visible at all in an entire half of football.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think if Switter comes back, he might be the one who has to make way. But other than that, you wouldn't expect too many changes after what was a pretty solid performance.
yeah, and I mean the last 2 weeks have been pretty solid, and we haven't really made too many drastic changes. So I think it was just the one
Yeah,
on the weekend, which we pretty much knew what was going to happen there, which was a miss
yeah,
coming in for Voss.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay.
guess what
All
I
right.
would
So
call out is,
yep.
and I made mention to you, Neil Erasmus had probably his
Oh, yeah.
best game in the waffle. So he's one. Even if I guess Twitter doesn't come up, he may be one that pops his head back in, and he'll probably start as the sub
Yeah.
as usual. But
Yeah.
yeah, he had
Yeah.
34 and 9 scoring, well, 9 inside 50s, and kicked 1 goal for himself. So
Yeah,
could have
geez,
had
if
a
he had a
decent
kick
day out.
straight, that would have been a monster game. There would have been a
Yeah,
monster game.
I guess I will
But
throw
yes,
the I guess the clarity out there that it was 113-point belting of West Perth, so they had a
yeah.
lot their own way.
Playing again, that was the sort of expectation I had against West Coast. But um, all right, mate. So look, we don't have much time because I know you've got to get some work. We've got the big derby this week in AFL Fantasy. You and I.
Yep, yep.
Have you got any hints or tips?
Um, yeah, I reckon if you make someone like Dan Curtin your captain,
Yeah.
honestly, I have not looked at it too much this week.
Okay.
I have got a little bit of coin stash there, so I might be upgrading a, one or two if I can get it across the line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I did a sideways and an upgrade, so that's all you need to know about
right.
that.
I was quite
All
happy
right.
with my Saligo pickup last week, though.
Yeah, I know. And I was considering him this week just as because you've got that point of difference. And I thought, hang on, it's Jake Saligo. They're playing Brizzy. He might not get a touch. So, um, yeah, I'm happy to run that gauntlet. I hope he does nothing. Just before we get into the forgotten Dockers and sign off, mate, the NBA playoffs. So I know you're like me in big on American sport.
No, don't remind me. My
So
my Magic gave up an 18-point lead to lose Game
yeah,
7.
yeah. So unfortunate. You're still, I think, the only person I know who's an Orlando Magic fan.
That came about because that's where Shaq and Penny were playing.
Pennyware, yeah, I think there would be a few legacy supporters there.
Yeah.
Like, mate, my Warriors couldn't even get past the play-in tournament. So, but to be fair, they've won 4 chips in the last 6 years. So, you
Well,
can probably
speaking
take
of that,
that.
it's going to be soon, and we might be signing Clay. So,
Oh, really? The Magic?
mm, mm.
No shit. Well, he's cooked. I think he is at that point now where
We just need
it's hard
increased
to.
perimeter shooting. To be honest, we
Yeah, but
average
he's
like
not
low
even doing that
30s.
well.
So, yeah, maybe a change of scenery or whatever, but we just need him to shoot the 3 ball pretty much. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you sign Clay, good on you. You know, uh, it's hard to get. It's hard when legends get to that age, right? So
yeah,
yeah, fingers crossed. I see my Warriors just tearing everything down except for
Steph.
Steph, which is absolutely what they should be doing. He needs to go nowhere. They need to keep him forever.
Yep.
Rightio, mate. I know you're limited time, so what I wanted to do was quickly just run through my forgotten Dockers. We're in the forward line this time. Have you got time?
Yeah, yeah. Got a few minutes.
Yep. Right. So, first one's first. Justin Bollenhagen. Justin Bollenhagen on the half forward flank.
Yep.
Uh, Played one good game in the Derby where he kicked a couple of goals. Did nothing else after that. In fact, I heard a story about him when he was on the Dockers list. He had, I don't know how true this is, but he had like business cards made up, Justin Bollenhagen, and underneath it, AFL footballer. And he was handing them out. So I don't know how true that is. I
Shit.
want it. I want it to be true.
Yeah.
I really want it to be true.
Jesus.
Um,
Tickets, please.
Centre half forward, a guy who I'm hoping you remember him. His name was Michael Brown. He's a big
Yeah.
bird.
Yep.
Yeah, he looked tough. Garbage footballer. Garbage footballer. Like he must have played 20 games, I reckon.
Had the
He's pretty
goatee
much.
or something, didn't he?
Yeah, had the goatee. He might have had one or two games where he kicked a couple, but because we were so bad back then, it was like, oh, he's our new forward of the future. And no, he was garbage. This one. I played indoor cricket with this guy. Half forward flanker, Ben Cunningham from New Zealand. Handy indoor cricketer, I'll say that. I played with him, Anthony Grover, and Graham Pollack, and all of them were very, very good indoor cricketers. But Ben Cunningham, I remember going to the G to watch Docker's Essendon game. We got flogged as usual, but he came through and kicked 3 goals off a wing one game, and we're like, "Yeah, BLT, this guy, he's got it." And yeah, it turns out he didn't really have the work ethic. And then at the end of his career, he signed on with Peel Thunder because this was when they weren't aligned with freo.
Yep.
And he signed on a contract to play for Peel Thunder and didn't rock up to training, and that was it. So, here we go. Forward pocket, Casey Cibasato. Big, tall guy. Everyone thought he didn't actually play a game. Everyone was comparing him to Clem Michael, I think, at the time.
That, yeah.
Saying, he's the next Clem Michael. And, I think he was... I don't know that his skin folds met what was required at AFL level, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Full forward, this guy took mark of the century just about, and then got and then asked to be traded to Adelaide. Daniel Shell. Yeah, he really did nothing. We had so many forwards who were like, "Oh man, this is going to be the next big thing," and all of them were crap. Ryan Murphy, Daniel Shell, Casey Cibasato, all of them were garbage. And the last one, this guy I remember vividly. He won a Beacon Award one year. It was like in 1997 or something like that. I don't know what the hell happened to him because in his first year looked pretty decent. Gavin Mitchell. You remember Gavin Mitchell?
Little Gavin Mitchell.
Little Gavin Mitchell had this ridiculous, dirty mustache.
Yeah.
Young Indigenous forward guy. I don't know what happened to him. But, so that's my forward line. Look forward to when I get back. You can add to that.
Got a couple of weeks to come up with mine.
Yeah. So sweet. All right, mate. I'll be back. It looks like on the 24th. So we can maybe organise a pod for then, and or around about then. Hopefully, China's pretty restrictive in me being able to watch football and stuff like that. So I might be relying on you for information.
No worries, mate.
All right. To everyone listening, You Can't Handle the True Sports podcast. You've got Rubbish YCH on Twitter. You've got the Pistol 17. And, go Dockers.